Yes, I am Clay Douglas, and my guest is John Kaminski. Hi, John.
Good morning, Clay.
Now we're recording in every channel, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much. This is going to be a momentous year.
Well, let's see. We're according to the ancient Mayan calendar, that we've been quoting here for a few hundred years. It's the end of the world as we know it.
According to our President of the United States, you're dead meat.
That is true. He just signed that bill in, and now, if and I maybe I've been rightfully accused from some time, of being a little bit belligerent. I am 6'4". I do have a very short temper. And by the way, do you know what the greatest thing about being a bachelor and a 6'4" bachelor is?
Tell me.
I can pee in the sink while I'm pouring my coffee.
Way to appeal to the upper crust, Clayton.
Yes, I try to. But come on, guys. I think the problem that we've really got, John, is that we forgot how to enjoy the battle. I mean, we've been fighting tyranny for 6,000 years or more, thousands of years, easily. And what's changed? What's changed? I mean, isn't this what's happening now? I predicted. I mean, I put my film out, True Face of FEMA, 10 years ago, and had Colonel John Brinkerhoff lecturing law enforcement, telling a man in case of a natural disaster, a single outbreak of smallpox, a nuclear bomb going off somewhere, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people. Who the hell was he talking about? They asked him if he was talking about the National Guard. He said no. But now they could bring in anybody's military, and they're talking about this with Canada, and this has happened with Mexico. They're bringing in the military here.
It's the private guys in the black vans that we got to worry about. They're not in the Army officially. They're these Blackwater contractors who the very richest among us employ them because they're the most reliable, because they're the most deadly and bloodthirsty.
And these are the same people that created so many problems for people over in Iraq. And I've said that Iraq was like a training ground for our troops to bring them back here into our neighborhoods. I mean, I said this 8 years ago.
Well, the great thing now is there's a lot more people saying the same thing. I was thinking that people like simple comparisons, so it's really easy to say that there are only two kinds of people in the world: the desperate and the unconscious. And most people prefer to remain unconscious because they don't want to be desperate. But the people who want to live real lives see the threats that are facing them, see the funny little things coming out of their bodies now, see that most of the population has a bronchial infection, sees those ubiquitous lines in the sky every day. I saw a chemtrail the other day that was actually dripping, and wondering why there's an epidemic of Alzheimer's and all of these other diseases.
I did the film Chemtrails, the video, well over 10 years ago, and I followed it. I mean, you could once you see them spraying, you could if you picked up the paper over the next 2 days, there's a flu epidemic.
Yeah, there is. And the epidemic is all those signs at Walgreens saying, "Get your flu shot now."
Oh, and if you pass up Walgreens, the Safeway next door will have them for you.
They're everywhere. I can't believe I saw a young mother rush in with her children, frantic that she was late for getting her flu shot, and this was at a Walgreens.
Of course, you never hear about what happens from that. But I don't get flu shots. My son's never got any vaccines. and none of us have ever been sick. You know?
Funny how that works. When you listen to the real medical experts, and there's a lot of them talking out there now. I was listening to Nancy Banks talking about vaccines. Dr. Nancy Taylor Banks. None of them are effective. The concept of vaccination is really emblematic of this phony medical system that we have. And when you read Dr. Banks or Eustace Mullins or any of the cutting-edge doctors who are selling stuff on the internet now, you realize that you can't trust your doctor, that the only person you can really trust with your own health is yourself, and whatever you eat is going to determine how you live. And no pill that you can take is going to make up for that, because every pill that you can take slowly kills you, because that's the nature of allopathic medicine.
That's right. You know, there and well, let's throw in there the poisoning of our water supply with fluoride. I mean, come on, if a truck hauling fluoride had an accident, they would close off the whole highway and evacuate the neighborhood.
And yet most people that we run into, practically everybody we run into, has the attitude that they know what's going on because they watch the news on television. Two of my neighbors, I love them dearly, and we very seldom venture into politics because they just haven't been exposed to the data like we have. So you have to kind of nurture them and baby them along. And we got to talking about presidential candidates, and one of them came out and said, "Oh, that Ron Paul, he's there to destabilize all the other Republican candidates." And I knew I broke into hysterics.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because one of the things that's on my mind today, I know Ron Paul. Ron Paul was a subscriber of mine. We spoke at the same conventions. We've talked for a year. And the Tea parties are going after Ron Paul.
Yeah, I noticed that.
You know.
So I asked this guy, who have you been reading to get this information? And of course, he was ashamed to tell me because he might go on, mostly TV, but he might go on the internet, read these soft sites like Salon and these Counterpunch and these hip, the Information Clearinghouse, these hip democratic websites that beat around the bush. But what more and more people are coming to realize is we have to talk openly about Jews and Jewish influence, because not to do so guarantees that we won't get to the bottom of anything.
What I don't understand why people can't ask themselves. I mean, first of all, most of these so-called Jews came from Soviet or Russia. They were forced out of here by their own people, by the Jews like Marx and Lenin. They use the elitist Jews, the Jews with the money, the Jews that print the money. They're the ones that are pulling the strings, and they are sacrificing the Jewish people as much as they are sacrificing, you know, our Aryan, German-descended people.
Certainly a lot of that is going on, but it's much broader than that, because all of the Christian denominations kind of echo the words of the present Pope, who said that Jews are our elder brothers, which means that he is part of the scam of thinking Jews or insisting that Jews are just another religion. Now, the thing everyone in America and the world needs to know is that there is a reason that the Jewish holy book, the Talmud, is not widely available, and certainly not widely available in an unabridged form with all of its incredible pathological pronouncements in it. And people just think, you know, they have, I've had a lot of Jewish friends in my life. I've seen Jews do a lot of things that were construed as good by a lot of people, and then only much later do you realize that their contribution may have had an ulterior motive to it. And I don't mean to to blame that on every Jew on the planet, but there certainly is a lot of that going on. Now, what I'm saying is the people who are Christians and are turning the other cheek and trying genuinely to live up to the what their religion tells them to do, which I think among religious people that's a fairly small percentage, because hypocrisy rules all religions for sure. But their religious respect and their willingness to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's results in a paralysis of the population and greatly assists the Jews' purpose to maintain their invisibility and control everything from behind the scenes without anybody knowing about it.
This is exactly what Kennedy warned about in his famous last speech.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a wonderful thing. That needs to be studied by everyone over and over again. I've watched that thing maybe 10 times in the last year, and each time I listen to it, there is a new there's a new revelation that comes with it, and each time you watch it, it's like, holy cow, he was telling us exactly what was going on, and we couldn't hear him because we were lost in the media white noise merry-go-round.
It's pretty incredible, you know. Even J. Edgar Hoover kind of gave us that warning, you know, that the average man is like stunned to face a conspiracy so great. Matter of fact, I've got a link up, and you're the one that brought it up in the first place, about the Neanderthal connection.
I took a look at that. I looked at it a long time. I read Willis Carto's wonderful article, and did a shorter version of it, and talked to Michael Bradley, who was the chief exponent of it for there to be some Neanderthal connection to the Jews or the Semites. And I eventually cast it aside as it's another distraction. What we really need to focus on is the American people don't realize that throughout the 20th century they have just been puppets on Jewish strings. And a number of people have tried to say that over the years, and they've all been killed or blackmailed or whatever. They've been silenced, and the great American patriots like both of the Charles Lindberghs and some of the great congressmen. I'm blanking out on the guy McFadden, who was on the case of the Federal Reserve during the U.S. bankruptcy in 1933, and they poisoned him. They just killed him.
Yeah, McDonald too. Shot down a whole airliner to get him out of the way.
Wellstone, who was a Democratic Jew, they killed him because he went too far over the line. And I made a list in my last story of the people who've been bumped off recently. That tax guy who was disappeared in Memphis in a pool of blood. I keep forgetting his name. What's his name? Who got shot in West Memphis parking lot, or supposedly did?
Yeah, he and her son.
Yeah, who is that guy?
I don't know. I blanked it out too. I tried to help his wife. She got a little belligerent with me, so I just blanked it out.
It's like there's so many funny stories going on.
Well,
but
I mean, Gordon
stories.
Call. I mean, and Carl Kling was telling us about Gordon Call and his music. Man, it was great music. He and Dave Von Kleist. Dave Von Kleist left the country, and I don't know what's happened to Carl. He hasn't surfaced in a long time.
Oh. Yeah, they scare you to death. Randy Weaver. That's what they do to you. That's what they did to you. That's what they're doing to everybody. It's like people are being disappeared, and now they've made it clear. They've made a formal announcement that the United States government is making war on the American people. That can be the only conclusion when the last of the Constitution has been destroyed, and they can put you in jail and hold you forever without a trial or even letting anybody talk to you.
Well, John, I mean, I get hassled about this a lot, Clay, that could have just been an accident. Yeah, right after 20 minutes after I had that conversation with my son, and a Jewish company is doing the phone tapping for NASA, Amdocs and one other one, and then they rushed me to the hospital. I fought them all the way, they said. I fought them to get, I didn't want to get on the stretcher, I didn't want to get in the ambulance. I fought them all the way. That sounds pretty active for somebody that's supposedly crippled and brain dead. And but then the guy showed up in the hospital. Hey, Clay, you've been hallucinating, Clay. You can thank us for that. We're CIA, and I don't know if they're CIA. I don't know if they're Mossad. I didn't know if they were the Phoenix gang squad. It doesn't matter. They could have been ADL agents. It doesn't matter. Somebody knew that what had been done to me, and I'd already been out of commission. I had been disappeared for 3 months, folks.
I'm about to go off on these guys, Clayton. For Obama to, it's like all of the people who voted for that bill have violated their oaths of office, are guilty of treason, and should be tried, convicted, and executed for treason in time of war. Now, unfortunately, the main enemy of the American people now is its own government. I once said that about newspapers. The main enemy of all newspaper reporters is his own publisher. And we've got that happening. I keep trying to draw the parallels between how religion works and how politics works. And in each of them, or in both of them, we are asked to trust our leaders because we have voted for them. We have adopted their philosophy, and therefore we have to put our ultimate faith in them. And that's a mistake in both religion and in government. We have given up, if we ever had it, our direct connection to control of the government. Voting is a sham. The elections are shams. They're putting on this daytime TV passion play for us, and really nothing is going to come of it, even if Ron Paul wins, because Ron Paul is still a subscriber to that system, and thinks the system can be repaired by tinkering with the government and bringing it into accord with the Constitution. Now, the Constitution has a flaw in it that allowed the central bankers, after 100 years of effort, to take over the government and to conduct an a priori theft of American labor and American riches in the form of the Federal Reserve and taxes and all of the other control mechanisms they put in place 98 years ago. And so all throughout the 20th century, we've been thinking that, wow, America's a great place. It flew across the Atlantic. It went to the moon. It did all these things. And it hasn't been America at all. It's been the international bankers doing all of these things, not certainly for the benefit of anybody but themselves, and in the process turning, it's not just the world they've profaned. They've turned the human species into a pile of robot drones who don't even recognize themselves, don't know why they're here, don't know what to do, and are completely helpless in the face of this 360-degree media tyranny that is killing us. They're deliberately killing us, you know.
They are. The whole Social Security system works really well if you die a few years after you turn 65, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I've said they've refined the art of slavery, John, to the point that the slaves don't know they're slaves.
Definitely. That's definitely true.
How do we do that? I mean, now the whole Talmud and this whole Jewish, these are the money changers that Jesus ran out of the temple. These are the Pharisees that crucified Jesus because he was telling you God is within you, not and you don't have to pay the church, and you don't have to pay the preachers, and you don't have to worship the statues here. But who do we turn? I mean, if most Christians think of themselves they're as good Christians because they go to church, but they're being taught in those churches that the Jews are the chosen people, and they're the rulers, and they can't be questioned. So
there's only one question. There's only one place it can happen, and that's inside everybody's mind. And I have theorized that it is our system that is based on a concept of immortality. You get immortality if you follow the rules. But as Bruce Campbell pointed out, the ultimate reward for doing that is to get crucified. And that's the Christian religion. Now, all of these Christians talk all these noble sentiments, but there's no traction in reality. It's like there's no mechanism for Christians to act against their enslavers, because their enslavers created Christian dogma to begin with, and it's bulletproof. You can't get the
how can a person?
Let me finish. You can't get the Jews through Christianity. You have to come at them from a different way, and the centerpiece of it is that this all hinges on the approval of the herd and having the approval of the community before you do anything. But right now the entire community is blackmailed into believing this lie that they have to
Why would somebody want to worship the instrument of torture that was that they used to kill Jesus with, and a lot of other people? But why? You know, to me, that's always been the strangest thing. Why would you worship an instrument of torture?
Well, all I can say about that is force. The force has always ruled the world, and religions were constructed to soften the edge of force, to make people believe that bad things that were being done to them were being done for a good reason. And
onward Christian soldiers, right? Onward Christian soldiers, and that's why a lot of the churches are supporting the war, and you got Palin wanting to go bomb Iran now. Come on.
So this has to all take place inside our own heads, inside each individual, and you know what a difficult proposition that is, given the condition of the American population today, given the things that kids are being taught in school that are just totally unconscious lies. But when you realize what they're being taught in school today is lies, I pray that you'll all take a look back at what you got in school and compare that with what Eustace Mullins had to say about the 20th century, and you'll see that we have been fed a line of Jewish BS in all aspects all our lives, and we have to transcend that if we're ever going to retain any idea about freedom or liberty. We have to see what's controlling us before we can control ourselves. And what is controlling us is this ubiquitous 360-degree Jewish pollution of every discipline known to man, and it's called the profit motive. And the Jews know how to exploit that. They know how to run their Jewish mafia so that their favorite people get the biggest pieces of the pie. And right now the whole planet is collapsing of its own corruption, and the only people who are profiting from that are the Jews.
What is your viewpoint on the Muslim now? Albert Pike, you know, a Mason, master Mason, Morals and Dogma. He predicted the war with the Muslims. That's the Jewish press and the Jewish-controlled tea parties and things like that are pushing us for a war with Iran.
It's so insane. It is so.
Now, what the original Muslims got along fine with Christians. You know, what happened to this whole what's behind this whole Muslim thing? I mean, this part 90% of it is Jewish propaganda from the mainstream media. Nobody's saying anything good about Palestinians out there.
They control both sides, Clayton, and they've always controlled both sides. And the Muslim religion is strikingly like the Christian religion in that a lot of participants in each are actually secret Jews who are in the organization to destabilize it. That's been the one consistent feature of the Christian religion over time. It keeps calving off new variations of itself, and those are always produced by Jews to increase the intensity of the destabilization process, increase the process of individual alienation, because alienated people are much easier to control than allied people.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, that's it.
Do we... You know, I've been in this battle for a long time. I started the militias and the Free American because I didn't like the way the press reported on Waco, and I didn't like what I saw happening to American people.
Right.
And I don't see it getting any better. I don't see it getting any easier. I don't see us making any progress. I mean, there's a little. I mean, you know, the fact that people are going to the tea parties, I think that's a good thing. Got them out of their easy chair, but they're not understanding. The tea parties aren't telling them anything. The tea parties are telling them not to vote for Ron Paul.
The Tea Party, like the Occupy Wall Street protests, are pressure relief mechanisms that give people a chance to, they're like the old nuclear protests and the peace demonstrations. They give people a chance to blow off steam and think they're really doing something, but they're not really doing anything other than vainly expressing their frustration. Nothing will come of it. In fact, the net public relations result of the Occupy Wall Street protesters is that there was a groundswell of support for police crackdowns on these people because they were interfering with the unconscious population's desire to continue to seek out its pastimes like Dancing with the Stars or sport. It was interfering with people watching sports. So that's why the general population kind of soured on the Occupy protest. A lot of things have been expressed by a lot of people, revealing the flaws of our society and the oppressions and the poisonings that are going on. But what is conspicuously absent in all the debate about everything is Jewish influence on that debate. And I've said over and over again, you can't attack any problem in the world today without first considering the Jewish influence on that problem, because it'll save you at least 50% of your investigative time at getting to the bottom of the problem. It's this Jewish corruption that has entered every aspect of American life and permeated the way we think. And it's turned us into real assholes because we turn our backs on what the government is doing in our name all over the world, killing people from the sky, giving them cancer, poisoning their water. That's a particularly Israeli pastime. They poison the wells. They poison the well of humanity through their own fear, and they've taken that fear and inflicted it on everybody else, made themselves gods in this godless world, and demanded that the rest of the world bow down to them. And you can't bow down to insane people. You have to put them away, and that's what we need to do to the Jews. We need to segregate them from human society.
Well, they would be screaming that he supports Hitler. That's what Hitler tried to do.
Hitler was the good guy.
He did wonders for the German people.